Welcome to TRP, everybody. My guest today was a huge part of Canada's early new wave music scene as the lead singer of Vancouver's Images in Vogue, and has gone on to other musical projects over the years. He's a singer, songwriter, painter, and he's with us today. Welcome to the record player, Dale Martindale. How you doing, Dale?
Great. Yourself?
Quite well, thank you. I hope you've been keeping busy. I see painting behind you, so you look like you've been keeping.
Yes, I'm in the bowels of my studio here. Yeah, I've been keeping busy, lots of time to paint and write music. I've been writing a lot of new music and yeah, staying out of trouble.
I want to start obviously we'll start with Images in Vogue. From an outsider looking in, at that time, Images in Vogue's initial success to me it felt like it happened so quickly from the time it started, with the albums and the videos and the touring. What's your memory like of that time? I mean, or does it feel like it all happened so fast to you as well?
Well, a lot of memories. It was a good chunk of my life, from my 20s to, well, still doing it now and again. But yeah, it time does fly, that's for sure. But yeah, a lot of memories, a lot of good memories. It's always nice to see the boys again when we play. They're like, they're like family. And yeah, I just wish, things weren't the way they were. We'd probably be playing a little more than we are, but that's the way it is for everybody right now.
Do you look back and remember any specific, whether it's making the videos, whether it's recording the records, anything like that kind of stick out as?
The videos really stick out when you think about certain things because they were so grueling to make back in the day. It'd be like an all-day process. There was never enough food and tired, and it was just brutal making a video back then. Things are so much easier now. Especially that one we made in the courthouse, Lust for Love. That was the first video I ever did. So it's just kind of learning by the seat of my pants, Remember the director coming over to me, and I was a little stiff, He's like, "Well, you need a shot or something," because we're doing that cool little dance move in there that I ripped off from Bowie. Actually, that was Doug and the Slugs. What was his name? He sang for Doug and the Slugs. Doug Bennett. He directed that video.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I think it was his first video he directed too. But it took a long time, and So Careful was a bit brutal too because we were stuck out on that wharf, that piece of plywood we were drifting around in the Fraser River on in the middle of February or January, I think it was. Luckily we didn't slide off that thing and all drown.
The first, well, thank God. The first full-length album, you guys, you'd had put out a couple of independent things. The first full-length album was In the House, this one right here. Call It Love was such a big hit from this record. You made that album in LA, I believe, and it was produced by, and this part, I've always wondered this, it was produced by Gary Wright. Gary Wright, of course, is the guy who sang Dream Week, right, in the 70s. How does a young band, new wave band, if you call yourselves that, from Vancouver, get hooked up with the guy who sang Dreamweaver?
Well, it's actually the first rock concert I ever went to was Gary Wright. So
really?
That was a weird coincidence. I think I was like 17 or something. Wow. Anyways, yeah, he was a keyboard player, so there was that connection. A lot of it had to do with the record company we were with at the time, and we threw some names out. There was a Australian producer that we were wanting, but he backed out because we weren't an established enough band for him to work with at the time. That probably would have been a better fit for us, but that's the way it worked out. And
Well, it worked out well. I mean, the album was huge.
Yeah,
Um,
we weren't completely happy with it, but you know, I don't think anyone really is with their records. Probably can always be better. There's no perfection, that's for sure. But
and it was made in LA. Was it made in his studio or at
yeah, it was made in a studio. It was right next to his house, and we went down to LA, and we had these apartments and played a lot of tennis because the first week we got there, he was still finishing up a project, so we had a lot of time on our hands. So we got to see the city, and you know, we were glad to go back home and see it rain again for because we got tired of that weather down there after a while.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was like, oh my God, I wish it would rain
I'm Scottish,
3 months.
I understand that feeling.
Yeah, 3 months of rain it's hard to take when you're from Vancouver.
You're one of the luckiest musicians I've ever spoken to. When I think of the bands that you guys had the chance to work with and had the chance to play with and tour with, Brian Adams, Roxy Music, who else was there? My absolute favorite ones, Depeche Mode and Duran Duran. Just thinking about being able to perform and tour with those guys. How awesome were those experiences and getting to tour with bands that I'm sure you probably were big fans of at the time?
Yeah, that was Roxy Music could have been more fun, but I had a bad flu for that one, so that wasn't so fun for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I could barely get out of the tour bus to walk to the Saddle Dome stage, but the show must go on, and one wasn't a lot of fun. But Duran Duran was a lot of fun. I remember in Seattle we had to stop early because it was just like Beatlemania. It wasn't us, you know, it could have been anyone up on that stage. They were very excited. It was pretty crazy. It was a crazy thing to experience.
Duran Duran was the biggest band in the world at that time. I mean, they were the Beatles, right?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, it was nuts. They wanted us to go down to Reno and play with them as well because they really enjoyed being around us. We partied with them and stuff, and they were good guys. But we weren't set up for that with the paperwork, and our manager kind of dropped the ball on that one. But
you guys were very similar in style then as well. So I can imagine that you all got along quite well. What did you learn during that time from people like them and Depeche Mode especially? I mean, man, Depeche Mode were huge as well.
yeah, just to, you know, always be on your game and always put your best foot forward in those shows, and you know, never take it for granted. Never take the audience for granted, and you know, there's a lot of people out there expecting to be entertained, and you better be ready for it.
Right. Were those guys like party like rock stars kind of guys, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the 80s, you know.
That's true.
Now we all know better.
Well, some of us haven't learned,
but yeah. Some of these people that are still in the business, it's like getting a little long in the tooth, and they're still living that lifestyle. I don't know how they do it, but more power to them.
I interviewed Greg Godovitz once, and I can't believe he's still alive. I really can't. After the album and doing some touring like that, Kevin Crompton, who was the original drummer, he left the band not long after that to concentrate fully on Skinny Puppy, which wound up being another success story all on its own. My favorite Images In Vogue song, you mentioned it earlier, came from the second record. So Careful was the song. I love that song.
Yeah,
and I remember the video as soon as you mentioned it. I remember that video. You guys had a lot of turnover as well, more band members other than just Kevin leaving. Eventually, what was it that kind of made you guys sort of put the brakes on and say, let's take a break from this?
That would be grunge music.
Really?
Yeah. All of a sudden it was 1990, and there were 3 people at the show. Like, it was like 1 week it was packed. The next week, seriously, it was like 10 people were there. We're like, well, I guess the culture has shifted, folks.
And there was
Better
no,
find something else to do with our lives.
but there was no thoughts of,
That was pretty much it, you know. Just
no,
kind of a slow.
no
There
thoughts
were
of
no
Images
there
in
were no
Vogue.
loyal fans that there are now. Now they come flocking back. Where were you in the 90s?
Everything old is new again, but no chance of Images in Vogue switching styles at that point to,
No,
no.
you know, we're not the Rolling Stones. We don't we don't we don't adapt to change well.
Uh, you
It's
went
a word band.
from that. You had a couple of other projects. You did some solo stuff. You had a band called 69 Duster, another project that you were involved in called Pretty Volume. What was it like going from the comfort and kind of success level of Images in Vogue to doing brand new stuff and having almost the feeling of starting over again?
They were pretty. Well, there's really only one major one, is 69 Duster, and it's just good when you have the experience of putting a band together and stuff. I guess it just makes it easier to start another project rolling like that. You know, it's like that's how Kevin started Skinny Puppy so easily, because he learned so much from, you know, seeing how we put a band together. Not that it was just us, but just what's involved, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it easier. As far as comfort zone goes, we never, Images was never such a huge band that it was, you know, we were never in the lap of, oh, we could do whatever we want. You know, we got these big studios at our beck and call and this and that. You know, we were always pretty much an indie band. Even though we liked to put on a big show, we were like an indie band that sort of, you know, we financed ourselves basically, because we can get a lot of money from the record companies and stuff, really. And you know, so it was always a bit of a struggle as far as that goes.
When you I also want to mention something else that came back to me when I thought about it was Switchback, the TV show Switchback on CBC. How did you get involved in that? Because that show was on for years. It had probably a million different hosts. I think Stu Jeffries was one of the hosts on one of them. It had almost like different provinces had their own version of it. How
Yeah,
did
every
you
province had their own version. That's right.
how did you get involved in
Just
that?
because I was on it and I was interviewed once, and I guess I had a good interview and they liked my energy, so they called me up. I remember it was Christmas time and they asked me if I wanted to do it, and I thought to myself, no, that's not something I want to do. I just thought it'd be silly, but it's actually a really good experience. I was never really that comfortable doing it, but now that I see little clips of it put on not YouTube, but Facebook and stuff, they get put on sometimes. You can't see how really uneasy I am. I actually didn't do too bad of a job now that I look at it, but back then I was like just terrified really of the whole thing. And the worst thing was we had to go back to the CBC offices and watch the whole show again and be critiqued about it. It was like brutal.
You seem comfortable to me.
I'm always a little hard on myself, I guess, with everything, singing and all that. You know, I never thought I was that good of a singer either, as far as that goes. I never was given a lot of confidence with that.
How long?
Especially from.
How long did you do Switchback?
Pardon me?
How long did you do Switchback?
Oh, it was only about a year and a half maybe, and then I think the budgets got to be too much, and they just canceled them all over the place. But it was good exposure for the band. I mean, it was like the numbers were, I think it was like 200,000, 100,000 kids watching that every weekend.
Do you remember any specific interview, like, because you had it wasn't just a VJ thing where you were introduced.
That was one of the things that was really good about it, was they always asked me, who do you want to have on? They'd have on anyone, like musically. I think it's one of the reasons the producers, you know, like the idea of me doing it was that I've got all these friends in the industry, the music industry, and I'll just have them on. So it was great, you know, I'd have on Breeding Ground and Skinny Puppy and all these bands that would never get on a kid show. Well, but the kids loved it. You know, they were in that stuff. You know, and they're still, you know, their audience grew up with them. So yeah, Blue Rodeo. A lot of people. I mean, I forgot half the people we had on that show until I see it on YouTube
Clips,
or whatever.
old clips. Well,
Yeah.
I watched some of the old clips, and I mean, it's funny to look back on any old video show like that, but it was neat to see all the different interviews that you did. You guys, Images in Vogue, you've continued to perform and stuff over the years. You used to be quite involved. Obviously, you still are. We talked at the beginning about painting. You used to do gallery shows and that type of thing as well. Is that something you're still involved in? I mean, are you just painting for yourself?
The art business has changed quite a bit. It's not like, it's a real, yeah, it's like, it's not what it was in the 80s. You can't just walk in a gallery and go, hey, you know, you want to look at some pictures of my paintings. There's a lot more to it now. So you got to have an, you know, agent and all this stuff. So yeah, mostly just painting for myself, and if someone wants to buy one.
As I said, you guys have continued to, you know, over the years get back together for certain things and performances and stuff. You in 2018, I believe, you put together a compilation record of some remixes and some old stuff and some hits. You were performing up until COVID fairly regularly together, my understanding.
We played first weekend in this month. We played 2 dates so far this month.
And
that's probably for a while.
You're not planning, you have nothing else planned to go out?
No, not till next, I think May right now. So.
And you said you were writing. Is that by any chance writing for a new Images in Vogue record anytime in the future, or is it something that some other?
No, I'm actually working on a solo thing. Yeah.
Oh, good.
To send you some songs. I meant to send some songs along, but I haven't done that. You.
Well, I'm glad you're writing. I'm glad you're painting. I'm glad you're safe. I hope that you know, getting it. I did see you guys live many years ago at, I think, Lee's Palace. If I,
Oh yeah, we always like playing there.
That was one of my favorite places to see the show.
Great shows was Lee's Palace. The last time we played there, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Were you?
It was probably me. Yeah, I was probably there. It's a great fun. Great
Have you checked out my son's band?
Sorry?
Have you checked out my son's band, Goodbye Honolulu? I gotta put a plug in.
No. But plug away.
That's what a good father does, right? Yeah, well, check them out. They're called Goodbye Honolulu, and right now my son's based in LA. Oh. His name Box Martindale.
Awesome.
Check it out. They were, last time I saw them live was in Montreal with the Beaches. They played.
Oh, good. That would be a fun show to play with them. Yeah. Are they recording and all that stuff as well, or?
Yeah, they got quite a bit of stuff up on YouTube and stuff. Funny thing is, one of the guitar players in that band is the son of John Switzer, who produced a couple songs of ours.
Awesome.
Yeah,
circle of life, right? Well, thank you so much, Dale. I appreciate you being with us. Like I said, stay safe. Hope to get you back out on the road, and can't wait to hear some new stuff.
Okay, great. I'll send some along.
I hope so. Take care of yourself, man.
Okay, bye.